Hey now.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is the Blue Collar Philosophers Podcast. I'm Kickstand. That's Biker Mike from Mars. And we are being joined by your brother-in-law tonight.
Yes. Do you want your name set on here?
No,
where you work?
care.
Where you live? Like, or,
You yes. Help. Just maybe just
can we get your address and social insurance number?
Yeah.
Yes,
very,
my
very helpful.
Brother-in-law.
My credit card
name.
I know your credit's great.
My credit card is great.
Greatly limited. I hope it is.
Hey, $50 is $50.
I did see a key tag that said, "I'm not gay, but $20 is $20," and I'm like, I want that from a bike. Really do. My wife said no.
Yes. I mean, that's definitely the kind of sticker that belongs on a Honda.
Yeah.
So one of my buddies in Grand Prairie was out riding his bike the other day, and went to Tim Hortons, and there was these two guys there that were on their Harleys on these brand new street glides. They were a gay couple, and so he sat there shooting the shit with them for a bit, and just instantaneously they were kind of like busting each other's balls, and sort of thing. And he's like, "Man, I thought you guys would be riding Hondas, you know, being gay and all." And they looked at him and be like, whoa. We're not that gay. We like dicks. We don't ride Hondas.
So I'm gayer than gay, apparently. You're gay.
They seem like the kind of guys I could have a beer with.
Yeah. What are we drinking tonight? Bud Light. It was on sale. I don't know why.
Actually, tonight we are drinking 3 different whiskeys.
Yes, we're going to. You see, we've been trying different whiskeys, and we're trying to figure out which one do we like most.
Yeah,
we
always come back to Bullet Bourbon. That's the staple in the pothole.
Yes, it's just so friggin' good. It's just a great whiskey, but we haven't compared it side by side. We've never actually taken the time to drink one and then another to see which one do we actually like more, because we just keep falling back to the well-priced, great flavor of Bullet. And
I wish they paid us like shit.
Yep.
Like, I feel like shit. Yeah, they pay us. They pay us shit. I feel like you're giving them like quite the advertisement here. So Bullet, if you want more of this kind of stroking, like, please just $50 is $50.
Well, if you want to sponsor us by sending us shit tons of Bullet, we'll take it.
They might not after my next comment. I would say that I like Bullet, but I do find it on the sweet end.
It is. It's actually very... I don't know. It's a bit on the spicy side. Like, it's got a little bit of wryness to it.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of a pepperiness to it that I don't find in other bourbons. Like, some of the other ones are more on that like sweet corn side of things.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't like it. That's the only only whiskey in my house.
But it's not like insanely complex. But it's an easy one to think about, like to drink without thinking about it.
All right. So I was going to say, let's work our way up. From my knowledge, price point, Bullet would be the cheaper of the 3 whiskeys that we have tonight.
Okay, well,
imagine.
Why don't we just start with our Old Faithful?
That's what I'm saying.
Start with Bullet, and then we'll go with we've got Knob Creek 9-year-old here.
Yes.
The 100 proof.
And what's the third one?
That is a bottle of Evan Williams.
I have not heard of that one.
Yeah. So
I'll
talk about it after the
guy
fact.
with 2 first names.
That's right.
Exactly. You know who you're talking. You know who we're talking about.
Who you are.
Marky 2 names.
Marky 2 names. All right. So let's grab a glass.
All right, gentlemen. Cheers
to evil.
To getting ripped.
Stay warm. Ooh. Oh, that's so good. So you rode your motorcycle, so we were saying, I'm like, we don't have to get ripped tonight, but you got to be warm and whiskey.
This is officially the first podcast I've ridden my motorcycle to this year.
That's right.
I'm very happy about it, although it is still very cold.
So nippy. I don't know how you're...
I walked.
Mm-hmm. You could probably ride back with them. I'll give you a skid lid. Just gotta wear a paper bag, too.
You gotta ride back with them. It's not a Honda.
Right. It's not gay if it's not a Honda.
Oh, it's got to be a Suzuki. I was gonna say, are Hondas gayer than Suzuki? Why does Honda get the badge of the gayestness?
Because they honestly advertise them as the nice people's motorcycle. And
that is true.
You can't do that.
And Yamaha is the single best piano maker's motorcycle because they make both pianos and motorcycles
And guitars.
and guitars. So, yeah, but so does Suzuki, doesn't it? They make pianos.
They do.
All those Japanese companies make everything.
All right. Yamaha does it both well.
Yes. Well, I don't know. Their cruisers, they're so heavy in the corners. For the motorcycles, yeah, they're well tuned, they're fine, but the cruisers are so heavy. The front end just feels like you want to drop it all the time.
See, but I was more thinking, even when you're saying motorbikes, like dirt bikes, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Josh picked up a Yamaha. I want to say a YZ or I don't know, some kind of 450 or something like that. It was a brand new. He can like change his gearing through his phone and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, it's Bluetooth.
Wow,
on a dirt bike.
On a dirt bike, changing gearing through your phone. Interesting.
Yeah, you can retune it or whatever. I don't know what the fuck you call it. But
Yeah. But yeah, Yamaha itself, like, they do make good motorcycles. Yeah, I know their cruisers are not your thing, with the exception of the Raider. Frickin' banger of a bike. Like, they've done some awesome ones. The Raider, the Warrior, and the
VMAX.
The VMAX.
The VMAX is a phenomenal bike. I love
their sport bikes are among the best.
Yep, the R1s and R6s, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, R6 is a
Like,
600cc.
in
R1
general,
is 1,000.
In general, I would say they're probably the cream of the crop when it comes to Japanese company motorcycles.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Suzuki. The thing is, the only thing Suzuki does well is their sport bike with the Hayabusa and the Gixxer and all those
They
ones.
make, okay, you know what they do? They make a good product once, and they ride that horse.
That's why
for
they
a
made the Intruder for
decade
what?
or more.
How long
and
did they
then
make the Intruder
make a new
for?
one. Okay, the bike that I have outside.
Yeah.
They started producing that bike in 1987.
87.
And mine is a 2005.
Yep.
The only thing that changed on it was an extra gear, and they made the
Went from a 4-speed to a 5-speed.
and they made the signal lights look sleeker. That's it.
That's it. It's the same bike.
Definitely made their money off of that R&D.
Yeah.
Basically, the only thing I don't like about Suzuki is their environmentalist specialist, their flagship environmentalist.
What
David?
That
David Suzuki.
Suzuki!
Oh.
Hey, it's a good segue into our topic.
No, not yet. We got okay. Next one. Before you finish that one, so that you can
All right.
tip back. Okay.
Knob.
Yeah, toss it around.
And this is a Knob Creek 9-year.
Yes. So this is 100 proof, so 50% alcohol.
I do frequent both of these.
Yes.
Oh, it's a good one. I can hear thumping upstairs. I can hear my kids just thumping around.
Right away, it is way smoother.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because it's got that extra 10% of booze straight in it.
Mm-hmm.
What is this here?
I think it's 45.
Oh yeah, you're right. So this extra 5%, but it is just nicer. It's a nicer whiskey to me, instantaneously.
Yeah.
But it is smoother, but
The thing
there's
is-
less flavor. I think.
Yeah. The bullet you can have with this one you could cut with ice, but it almost seems unnecessary.
Like,
Okay, I'm tipping back to the other stuff here. Okay, so the bullet I'm finding is way brighter. Like it's got more of an upfront bright taste to it, a little bit spicier. This seems more like, if you think of like, rather than treble, it's got more of a bass.
yeah, if you taste it on the back end more.
It's smoother, it's more caramely. I would say this actually has more flavor.
The bullet or the
knob. Yeah. So far, I am fully on the knob side here.
You're riding the knob.
Riding the knob. $50 is $50.
$50 is $50. Hey, whoever wants to pay us, we will redo this episode. We'll delete it from history, and we'll just be like, we're trying knob.
That'd make actually great.
Or
That'd make a great
knob.
Blue Collar Philosophers T-shirt. Just have the logo up front and on the back it says $50 is $50.
You want to sponsor Blue Collar Philosophers? I did do a Trollco shirt or a hat today that said Blue Collar Bastard, and I'm like, oh, I want that hat.
Starado. I like whiskey.
All right, I got a little bit left in both of those.
All right, so here is the Evan Williams. We really should have Glencairns for this, but we're cheap and very blue collar.
What the fuck is a Glencairn?
That is the little glasses that kind of like have the hourglass sort of shape to them. That kind of like funnel up to the top. They're for whiskey tasting because they bring all the smells right to your nose as you're sipping.
Now this one I haven't had before. When's the Wild Turkey coming out?
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
Almost too.
It's not bad.
It's a little bitter up front.
Thing is, I got hit by nothing
Is-
immediately, like a COVID nothing.
Oh, and the smell? It's the glasses.
No, even the taste. The taste, I got like it was like drinking water. On the front, on the
really?
front end, it was like just.
So I find the opposite. I think this has the best flavor. Right away.
Yeah, so
there it is.
this one is the lowest proof of all these. This is at 43% by
Okay.
volume. So it's got less of that alcohol punch. And it's a little bit more watery than the other two.
Yeah.
But it's got a very good flavor. It's a very kind of like corn. Very sweet corn.
Yeah. We should get people to just send us bottles. Like, hey, you want us to try a whiskey?
Now, I would say this is a fantastic deal because this is half the price of these other two bottles.
Really? See, I didn't know what the price point was, but
I know. I was purposely trying to avoid that. But you're like, I think that one's probably the most expensive. Like,
I thought you were going to put out or something. I'm like, oh,
no.
Kevin's gonna put out.
I wanted to test a more budget friendly bourbon for us. I'm trying to do us a favor, okay?
This one doesn't feel like it's doing much. Like I said, it's very dull in front. Dull
So
in the back.
I checked out the prices while I was at the liquor store there picking up this bottle of Evans. The knob, the sticker price was $52 here at the BC Liquor.
Yeah.
This one was $48. That was $26.
And they're all similar sizes, so it's not
Yeah,
like
they're all the same Mickey.
$7.50. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't feel like the Evans is doing anything for me.
okay.
Honestly, like
I actually don't mind the taste of it. But I think you do get what you pay for. It just in terms of like the complexities of the knob, right?
with that being
The
said,
knob is to me is 100% like it is a way better whiskey. That being said, like if you're going to have these over ice where you're diluting it anyway,
mixing it.
100% I'd go for the Evan Williams.
Oh yeah, if you're mixing.
Mixing or just on ice because on ice changes the flavor so much.
Yeah, and like if you watch, like I've watched quite a few whiskey guys, and they will suggest that certain whiskeys, certain bourbons, scotches, you actually add a little bit of water or you put them on ice, just because the flavor profile changes so much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it allows one flavor to not overwhelm the senses to the point where you're going to catch other flavors that you otherwise wouldn't catch.
But
like not even a lot, even just a splash because chemically it will change. the taste.
You spray mist over top of the bottle, so it gives you the idea of moisture.
You just drink it while looking. You just drink it while looking at a running faucet. That's enough water for me.
The placebo effect.
But yeah, like as I'm drinking this, I'm imagining myself sitting on a covered front patio on a summer day with a cube of ice in it, just as a refreshing thing that you don't want to think too hard about. I think that's where this place is.
I'd feed this to my children. That's how little it did to me. I'm like, there's nothing to it.
Well, yeah, but we also didn't have that much.
That's true, but even with what I did have, I'm like, it didn't. maybe I got COVID. I don't know. The other two I tasted, but that one, oh fuck.
Yeah. But it's funny, like, different whiskeys do that to people.
Yeah.
There's some that I just don't care for.
Yeah.
But, like, for a bottle that is less expensive than Jack Daniels, I am thoroughly impressed.
I haven't had Jack Daniels for like 9
It's garbage.
Not a fan
It's
of
such
Jack Daniels.
garbage.
It's you know, that's another one I've never bought in my life. I've never bought Budweiser and I've never bought Jack Daniels for myself.
See,
Yeah, I've never bought it for myself. I've picked it up for people. Like, people are like, "Hey man, can you pick up a bottle of Jack for me?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure," but I've never gone out of my way.
See, for me, I didn't think that I liked whiskey because I always had it like Jack and Coke or something, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, because I steered hard away from drinking pop, right? So then I just like,
Yeah.
I don't like whiskey. And then I was like, oh, started drinking it by myself. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
that's actually
It's quite good,
delicious.
right?
Quite delicious.
I know some people, they'll have some and they mix it with like they can't go straight and they start mixing and things go buck wild. They go a little crazy. And I'm like, you need to drink it straight. It slows you down, one.
Yep. Going right back between the Evans and the Bourbon, like, I honestly can't really tell the difference.
Between
You
the
mean the
Evans,
bullet?
the bullet or the
Yeah,
knob?
sorry, the bullet. Like, just like
I can.
sipping one, like,
I can.
and then
I've-
the other.
I barely tasted the Evans at all. I got like nothing from it. Where I switched back to the bullet here,
Yeah.
better in
See-
my like. I can taste it. It's got profile. It has depth. I'm like, okay.
See, I right away thought the Evans had the most flavor up front.
Yeah, I got.
But it
none of
doesn't. It doesn't have the staying power.
No.
Like, it doesn't linger. But I think that it has to do with the fact that it's lower proof than the other ones. Like, especially the knob, like, being that even that little bit higher proof, it coats the mouth. There's more. There's more stuff going on there without that extra water in the whiskey.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree.
Yeah, but for me,
So
I
you'd
would,
go second glass on the Evans.
yeah, I would have another one. I mean, like, we have to finish that bottle. Like,
Oh,
it's
yes.
not just gonna
Oh,
sit
yeah.
here not getting
No.
drunk.
It's going to get drunk.
Yeah. Or
But
let's-
given the choice between these three bottles right now, like you got the money in your account, doesn't matter how much it costs.
Oh,
Which
then
one
I
you
would get the knob.
You just go straight for you just go the knob.
Yeah.
You
Like, right away. Like, if money's no option, I'd go for the knob. I mean, and it's not even like they're super expensive. Like, there was way more expensive bourbons there. But for the extra $3 it cost over the bullet, 100% go for the knob. Like, that one's literally $3 more.
I'm switching back to the knob to see if it's a
Yeah, and like saying money is no option is kind of a weird thing too. Like I think you have to have your point.
I mean,
no, but yeah, you just have to have your point of diminishing returns, right? Like you have Lagavulin 12 year, like yeah, that's great, but it's also $150 a bottle. So
now there was something you said a little while ago that was actually very not here, obviously, when we were talking about price points. So we get cash work done once in a while because we work construction, we're with family and all this stuff, and you're like, oh, I'd like to, buy a bottle of bourbon for somebody, or I'd like to pay them, but they won't take the money. But they had a great point. Well, if I charge you, well, you're going to charge me for every time you work on my vehicle. And I'm like, oh, that's a really good point. So if I'm going to help you with your vehicle and not charge you because, hey, man, we're cool. And then you turn around and be like, oh, I'm going to charge you for in your case, drywall work or mudding or whatever. Like,
he definitely charged me
you
for
have
that.
yes.
He definitely charged me for that.
That wasn't a patch. That was a job.
Yeah, there's a difference between helping a buddy out and doing a job for a buddy.
Yeah,
Like, right?
yeah.
Like, you also need
Oh,
to
yes.
make that distinction.
That's true.
Yeah,
But family dynamic changes things. And I'm like, oh yeah, just get him a really good bottle of bourbon, like a 400, like whatever the cost it would have been to do this job. Get him bourbon, and you're like, no, because if you don't have the flavor profile, you're not going to appreciate.
You don't waste good bourbon or good scotch on people that only kind of like it.
Yeah,
no, but it wasn't even that. I just think that there's a price point, and I think my point of diminishing returns is about $80 Canadian in BC per
Yep.
bottle. Where above that, I don't even think it's worth. I would rather get them 3 or 4 bottles of something around $70-$80 instead of a
That's
I agree with that. That is a great point.
I see your point. Yeah, there is a point where it's kind of like, all right, this anything past this dollar number is not worth the extra dollars you're spending on it. Like it's either
unless you're an aficionado, like somebody who really knows whiskey, like you're really like that's a passion of yours.
There's only one. For me, when it comes to Scotch in BC, like my sweet spot is probably the $80 to $90 range.
Yeah.
Like what is it? Lefroy quarter cask is that's my all time. That's one of my favorite Scotch. My favorite Scotches.
Yeah.
But if I am going to be spendy, there is one bottle that I will go above that thing for. That's Arbor Lure Abendar.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That one to me is worth the premium, and that's like $160 bottle of Scotch. That's the one where I'm like, this is worth the premium. This is a special occasion.
This is a tell nobody.
And when I drink it, I'm like, I taste that money. and not it's not in my head. Like it's literally in the flavor profile.
Yep. You're not doing tasting and putting
like
that last.
It's a wonderful bottle of Scotch.
Yeah.
That's fair. But yeah, I think if you're especially if you know yourself what you like. Yeah. If you're going to buy it for somebody else.
Oh yeah, like I mean, I've had a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue, which is like a $200 bottle of
a $200 waste of money.
That's a bullshit bottle of Scotch right there.
It's good.
Screw that noise.
It's fine, but is it $200 fine?
No, it's $70 fine.
Yeah, it's like it's okay. It's good. I'd buy it if it were on sale for like a third the price. I don't know. Yeah. I would not spend what they're asking for a blended Scotch. Not even like a single malt. It's not. It's a blended Scotch, which is fine, but don't price mark it the way that they did.
But I mean, every industry's got its like premium brand names, right? They spend lots of money on advertising, and then they have certain not models, but imprints of their brand that they market to high-end people, like to create the illusion of illustriousness, but it's just it's not worth it.
You're walking around with a badge.
Have you ever had Johnny Walker Blue?
I've never had the blue. I've had black, but
it's fine.
It's one of those things. Yeah, I
prefer bullet over it.
I might try it somewhere. Right, if I was at a restaurant or something, give it a try. But I'm not going to buy a bottle to try.
No.
That's where I'm at. Right?
Well, the one I tried was a friend of mine got it bought for him, and he's like, a client bought this for me. So he does business. He's good at what he does, and the client wanted to appreciate him, so he bought him a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue, which is it's a badge. I spent the extra money and got you the blue. But what? And he's like, "Oh, you want to try it?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's good. It is good. Would I buy it for myself for that price? No. But it is good. I'm not trying to downplay how good it is, but it's not worth that price.
I'll call it a garbage bottle of liquor.
It's fine. It's okay.
No, it's not fine. It's fine if it's priced right.
Oh yeah.
Not being priced right.
How much would you pay for that bottle? The way that it is
for Johnny Walker Blue, $60.
Yeah, I'd go a little above that, but not much more.
No, I would way rather a Glenfiddich 12 or 15 or a Bowmore or Lagavulin. Like, just name a Scotch, and I'm likely to pick it over.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's fair.
That is fair.
Sorry, I'm worked up. Fuck Johnny Walker.
Fuck Johnny Walker. Unless they want to pay us.
Unless you're just a lister and your name happens to be Johnny Walker.
And then
I did know a Greg Walker. He was in a wheelchair. It was great. Oh, Mr. Walker.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
So we knew this guy, and he was in a wheelchair, and his name was Walker. I'm like, how's that go? He's like, hilarious.
His road name was Wheels.
His road name was Wheels. And somebody made fun of him. It's like, oh, we're all going to go for a walk on the beach. Well, most of us. And nobody laughed. And he's like, because it's like, no, we get it. We get it. Because he's in a wheelchair. So they laughed at my joke, making fun of the guy making I love those guys to death.
Greg, if you're listening, I'm sorry for what I'm about to say, but I totally use you as a punchline for a joke behind your back. But I know you have a sense of humor.
Oh, he's the best.
So he rides one of those strikers.
It's Spider. Can-Am Spiders.
Yeah, the Spider. That's what it is. Can-Am
yeah.
Spider, kind of like the
Not the
snowmobile,
Yamaha.
the snowmobile of the road.
The
Yeah.
snowmobile with a birth defect.
And so I was hanging out with some clubbers from various other clubs. We were at a bike shop, and somebody had brought in a Spider, and one of the guys there was like, "It's like, don't tell anybody, but I kind of want to give one of those a try. They look like they can go." And the other guys, talking shit about it because it's a 3-wheel thing and not a real motorcycle, which it's not, but that's beside the point. And so I was like, "Oh man, I knew one of those guys, somebody who rides that, like rides it pretty hard." It's like, apparently you got to be careful because like they can hydroplane in water pretty bad. It's like, so my buddy, he was riding it and hydroplaned in on the highway in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, something like that.
And he wound up like getting to a horrific wreck, and it was a very bad wreck. Like, that thing was totaled. He was in the hospital, and I was like, "Yeah, man." And he never walked again. And the guy was like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry." I was like, "It's okay. He couldn't walk before either." He's like, "You're fucking dark."
It's because we know it. Would I make that a joke? Would you make that? I would.
I would 100% make that joke to
Oh yeah,
Wheels'
but would you
face.
make it if he like did become crippled afterwards? Like he was walking fine. He's like, oh, he deserves to be on
That
Spider.
wouldn't be
'cause-
funny.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be
Yeah.
funny.
There wouldn't be a joke there. The whole joke is that he.
I know, and that's
So then,
why-
how could you make
that's-
that joke?
That's right. But it's like, oh, it's a joke.
Yeah.
It's great. It's fine. And if anyone gets offended, he would laugh.
Yes, he would.
Yeah, Greg would laugh.
All right. Well, we've had our whiskeys. We've hashed out what we like and how Mike's wrong.
Fuck you. I'm right. You can add more to your glass if you like.
Yes. Now you can have whatever you feel like.
Phase 2.
So, yeah, we wanted to do this whiskey comparison, but then we wanted to talk about Bud Light and the outrage over their beer cans.
So much rage. Are you mad?
Honestly, I've kind of been disconnected from it. I've only recently been aware of what's happening because I don't drink beer that often.
You don't drink
and when
piss
I do,
water?
And when I do, I drink really pretentious beer.
Yes, you microbrews and just very very hoppy.
Yes.
Your first beer was a Guinness, so you're just fucking bragging. All right, Nathan, how do you feel about Bud Light? What? Okay, here's a good question.
As
How do you-
a beer, it's just
that's exactly what I was going to say.
It's
How did you feel about it before the huge controversy?
100% indifferent. It's
Yeah.
just a non-entity to me.
It's one of those things. If it's hot out,
I wouldn't
there's
even
a
drink
cold-
it. I wouldn't. It's piss water. I did not. Would I ever buy one? I've
no.
never paid for a single. If somebody's like offered me beer, it was Bud Light, and it was a hot day. Yeah, it's cold.
see, I drink one over an IPA, and I know you're a huge IPA guy.
Not anymore.
Oh,
I've graduated to
Yes, he's
lager.
shed his plaid and
Yeah,
yeah,
and renounced his love of IPAs.
shaved my beard.
but
You're now 15% less hipster.
That's right.
yeah, I don't drink much beer anyways. But yeah, same thing. It's just like yeah, it's,
So you were indifferent.
Yeah. So apart from the beer, it's basically the agenda pushing is
Yeah.
what is.
Well, there's a lot of people getting very outraged right now. Now, I have a theory. Okay, let's just say what's happening. Just in case somebody 10 years down the road listens to this and be like, oh, what's going on with that? So they put a trans female, which means a man who believes he is a female, on the can
As a product
as a product spokesperson.
like Michael Jordan on
sponsor,
Wheaties.
Michael Jordan on Wheaties or Nike or whatever. Like they used
Yeah, yeah.
him as
Okay.
as a hey, look at us.
So what the problem is?
The real problem here's my theory of what the problem actually is. I say, or I used to say a lot, if you drink light beer, you're probably gay. And so I said that. It was a joke. It was a joke in passing. I'm like, oh, I could have a beer, but I'm a man. Or I could have a light beer, but I'm a man, and I'm going to have a real beer. And people who drink light beer would say, I'm not gay. But in the back of their mind, they're going to remember that joke. And so what happens is, now Bud Light has affirmed my joke, and everyone has gotten very mad about it, to the point of grabbing a machine gun and shooting at it and being like, I'm not gay!
Oh, I saw that. It was a Kid Rock.
Kid Rock did it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people pulling it from their venues. They've lost billions of dollars of revenue based on that alone. Like, there are a lot of people really putting their money where their mouth is, saying, this is not cool. With that being said, I am offended on behalf of gay people because they do not believe that a gay person can have or enjoy a full body beer. Because the only beer sponsored by a gay person, or a trans person in this case, maybe he's not gay, he might be just trans, but the only people who can really enjoy the only beer they'll enjoy is a light beer. Are you saying they are incapable of enjoying a full bodied beer? Why don't you put them on Budweiser? Not Bud Light, but actual Budweiser.
Well, I think that's just because
That's really weird.
It's a joke. It's a joke. I don't
Okay.
actually mean it.
Okay, I was thinking like that is such an odd take.
yeah.
I mean, like Bud Light has always been that's always been the brand that they've used for like advertising and like Super Bowl commercials, and that's the one they have quirky shit for.
Oh yeah,
Because like Budweiser itself always just has that
the
kind
king of beers,
king of beers, and like that's
queen of beers.
That's their marketing. Bud Light's always been the one that's had kind of the wacky marketing.
Yeah, but they've also had commercials like I think it was Bud Light or Miller Lite, where they did a cooking show. It's like, oh, you have to mix this beer with your recipe, and the guy just started doing a barbecue and drinking beer and hanging out with his friends. It's like, oh, it looks like he's making it looks like he's just having a good time. It's quirky jokes. They were great.
But I think if you look at like Anheuser-Busch and a lot of the brands that are underneath them,
Yep.
Budweiser, Bud Light, Stella Artois, there are brands that are
They own Stella?
flagship. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So there are brands that are flagship, right? So like you it's the way they're branded to people. So Budweiser, right? Their commercials and their advertising is like the horses during like, you know, those types of
like
wholesome,
Clydesdales.
yeah. And that kind of advertising, right? They're marketed differently.
Yeah, like Stella Artois is always kind of that very European sort of vibe to it. It's
Right.
always like a picture of some well-dressed person in Italy getting it off the tap in a nice flute beer thing. Like, there's so many different vibes that they're going for in their marketing. Like, I'm just confused as to like the backlash.
Yeah. Well, I really do think
like to Anheuser-Busch itself. Like, it's just, to me, it's like,
well, everyone's trying to outdo each other with how much they can get outraged. It's like, oh, you're mad. Well, I'm more mad.
yeah.
And
You won't spend money on it. I'll spend $100 on it and shoot it all with the machine gun. That'll teach him.
Okay, he might not have spent any money at all. He might have already had it in his fridge because he's a rock star.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He just had it, and he's like,
I know.
"Fuck
It's just
that."
it's one of those things where it's kind of like
You got it from
like
Travis Tritt's fridge.
Yeah. He's like, me and my buddy Travis, we combined forces.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is an odd choice for, I guess, the demographic that Bud Light traditionally markets to. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, in that way, I can see, like, I mean, you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole.
Yes, they are abandoning their demographic, their actual crowd of people who spend money on their beer. And they're like, oh, this will make us look good 10 years down the road.
I don't know. A lot of the stuff that I see about people being upset about it's not even that. It's not specifically that one guy. It's just like people are just tired of the agenda being shoved down their throat.
Yep.
And I think it's just it was the perfect timing. Nothing else going on there's probably something really important going on in the news. is why this
UFOs.
guy- Yeah.
Just UFOs.
Yeah.
At this point, I always assume when there's something like big hitting the news, I'm like, oh, they're covering up another UFO, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So I think right now all the backlash and the outrage, which is a cringy term because it's overused. But
I think it's
believe-
probably an apt one
But-
for this scenario, though.
But the
Yeah.
problem is it also gives anyone who thinks is diametrically opposed to what you believe, it gives them ammunition to say, why are you so mad about this? And then when they turn around and be mad about something, we do the same thing. It's like, why are you mad about
it's
this?
a never-ending pendulum, like we're upset about Aunt Jemima, we're upset about Bud Light. Well, it's like, you guys, we're upset now about people kneeling for the thing. Now we're upset about this.
Roe v. Wade being overturned. It's like,
or people standing for the thing.
I mean, some
Yeah, oh,
some of
that
these
is a huge
things
one.
are important societal issues, like the abortion issue. That's a legitimately big thing.
yeah.
But a lot of this other stuff is just
And
it's just virtue signaling.
And I do think that's a very funny thing because there are people out there saying, why are you so mad about the Bud Light can? It's like, I don't know. What about Uncle Ben? What about Aunt Jemima? What about these other ones that you got so outraged about? And you're like, oh, it wasn't misrepresenting the people who were actually faces to that label. So that you can't say you can't say don't make it a big deal while simultaneously making it a big deal in different areas. Where there was better demographic representation of Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben. That was like, hey, no one was ashamed that it was. No one's like, oh, I'm not going to buy Uncle Ben's rice because it's a black eye on it. Nobody cared. They're like, it's good rice. I don't know if it's good rice. Don't care. I don't pay for the groceries.
Or look at it before it's made.
Yeah. I know people that have an Aunt Jemima's bottle, and do you know what they do? They grab the, what is it, Pearl Harbor or Pearl something, whatever it's called now, and they will
That'd be
empty-
hilarious if they called it Pearl Harbor. It's like, that is...
It's Pearl something.
Just a Japanese guy on it instead.
With a little jet plane going right towards battleships. This doesn't offend anybody.
You know what? If they did that, I'd be like, you know what? You guys are fucking hilarious.
Pearl
And
Mill.
I'm for it.
It's Pearl Mill now, or Mill Pearl or something like that.
If it will always to me now be Pearl Harbor. It's Pearl Harbor syrup.
So here's
They will
another twist
empty
on
the
it.
Pearl Mill into the Aunt Jemima bottles. Like, I'm never going to forget.
So here's another thing on it. People who are more conservative leaning and want to maybe shelter their children. Now you got this on a can. You take these cans out, put them in your fridge, and then your kids are asking, who's this person on the can? You don't want to have to go down that road and try and explain it to them.
Yeah, because it's hard enough to explain to adults.
So maybe part of the outrage is just leave what I love alone. Don't make it political at all.
But does that just play into our conservative leanings of wanting to keep things the same?
Yeah, I would say that probably does play into our conservativeness, where we're just kind of like, let things be what they are and move on. But I mean, like, let's just try and think, what kind of things do we do where we, put stuff out there like on brands and be like, yeah, that's awesome. Like if somebody like had like, let's say
Ben Shapiro socks.
Ben Shapiro socks. Jesus is lumber. Like it's
Jeremy's chocolates. What did they do? Jeremy's razors.
Yeah.
yeah. It's not like we don't put things that we like on like and use it as a marketing tool.
Yeah. Well, is there anything that you stop buying? But here's the thing. For me, it's nothing for me not to buy Budweiser products.
Yeah, absolutely nothing.
It means nothing to me because I already wasn't spending money there.
It really, like, their big hit is going to be for, like, bars not stocking it and, stores not stocking it. Like, that's where the real hit is going to be for
Yes.
for the companies.
But is there any product that you know of that you've actually pulled your money on that made a difference? Because I know that Budweiser was not always the king of beers. Or whatever what is it called? Something Bush? Anheuser-Busch. They were not always the king of beers. There was another, I think it was called Schlitzer or something like that. Some other kind of beer, but they changed their recipe. Guess what happened? People didn't like it, so they switched to Budweiser.
It's like when they took cocaine out of Coke.
What a waste
or
of
just
fucking
change
time.
the recipe of Coke to
Oh,
New
yeah.
Coke. Like
Yeah.
when it
New
went from
Coke
when
to
it went from
compete with
Coca-Cola
Pepsi?
to Coke, yeah, and people didn't like it, and they reverted back. So I mean, like, yeah, like dollars do change
Yeah.
what companies do. I mean, this is a little different than changing a recipe, though, because this isn't about the product itself. This is about the packaging it's in.
Yeah.
So it really is a culture war thing. It's not a product thing. This
Yeah.
is the latest casualty in this kind
The
of
thing
like
is,
Cold War of ideals.
I think it was an important one too, because I'm glad people are a little bit outraged. Good. You don't agree with it, put your money where your mouth is. Stop drinking it. It was shit beer to start with.
Yeah, and that's fine. I find I don't really like. I obviously have opinions on stuff, but when it comes to like getting mad about stuff, I'm just kind of over it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it more for the internet, the internet after
The chaos,
The memes roll.
the chaos, the memes, and the entertainment.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
sitting here with popcorn, just
It's-
enjoying the view.
But I don't think you should laugh at the stuff on one end if the stuff that you
Yeah.
kind of hold dear or
That's the thing.
want protective. When you see that get made fun of, if you can't laugh at that, then I don't think you should laugh at the other stuff either.
Yeah.
Because there's funny people on both sides.
Oh yeah.
And I'm at the point where I'm just like, yeah, I don't really want agendas being pushed on anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's even biblical.
Well, I don't know.
Right?
It's
You're
hard
supposed to let
not
the way you live show.
But isn't that some level of an agenda to allow just your product stand on its own and your lifestyle stand on its own and be like, okay, I live a life of integrity. I'm going to allow my product or my service live on that same level. And it's like, well, that's an agenda because you're convoluting yourself with your
What is? Let's try and pin down here. What's the difference between like this person being on a beer can and Michael Jordan being on Wheaties?
Okay, I think a better one would be the Michael Jordan on sneakers and not speaking out about some things. Because Wheaties is one thing. They put anybody who is a superstar athlete on Wheaties. He's a superstar athlete. Signed
Yeah,
the contract. He's fine. Nobody cares. It's
So I
fucking
don't.
breakfast.
Okay,
no,
so
no one's putting.
before we get to the whole Michael Jordan and not speaking out on things, like we're muddying. I'm trying to pin down what is the reason this person is on the Bud Light can other than being transgender, because like
for
there's
1 year.
there's plenty of transgender people. They're
Yeah.
not on the beer can. Why is this person on?
Because they're an influencer.
Because they're an influencer. And they were a woman for a year.
Okay, stop.
That's it. No,
stop,
that's literally. No, that's why they did
I'm
it.
trying to
No.
pin down what other
That was
merits
what-
there are.
No, that's it.
What are the other merits? Or what?
That's it.
Okay, how big of an influencer is this person? Like, how is this?
They are being held up by the idea. They literally started a YouTube channel. I'm trying to explain it. I'm not
Okay.
trying to convolute it. I'm not trying to be. They literally started a YouTube channel of woman, my life as a woman or something like that. And he is
Okay.
counting the days on the 365th day, which was April Fool's, horrible time, to say I'm been a woman for 1 year. That is when they did it.
Okay, so how much success is this person having as an influencer?
As an influencer,
Yeah.
I think they're being propped up by both sides. They're being propped up. Hold on.
Just
hold on.
what is just the facts, not the
I
commentary?
know. That's
got
what
the
I'm saying. The
Wikipedia.
commentary is actually what holds it up. It has no actual influence. The attention that he's getting from the conservative media and the attention he's getting from the liberal media are both just echo chambering him into the stratosphere. He's done nothing.
But yeah, except for like you go to Wikipedia, TikTok information,
Yeah.
10.8 million followers. I don't know what it was before today,
Yeah.
but still, that's a lot of followers.
That's a lot of followers.
442.9 million likes on TikTok. Okay, so it's probably because whether you're the demographic, there's somebody watching that.
Yeah.
So
So why wouldn't a company see like, hey, there's a a potential spike in numbers we can get from appealing to a demographic we don't have.
But
I mean, yeah, it backfires spectacularly, but why?
the reason that the real reason that I see is the fact that all publicity is good publicity, good or bad. And so what's happening is the Democratic Party has literally brought this person in to do interviews with the president.
In October 2022. Still Wikipedia.
So I mean, still, like that's so much exposure. There's so much exposure that you can bring to your product.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying.
So I mean, there is actual
yes,
value there
they are
in
being
this
exposed.
in this person's intellectual IP. There is.
Yes, there is. I just think of the word intellectual and I convolute it with positivity. Sorry.
I'm good faith.
I
You
know.
You always talk about
am-
being good faith. Where is that today?
I'm trying. The reason I don't believe this person is mentally well, and I think people giving him the attention that they are, is not good for him. I think they are doing something horrible for both him and the people around him.
You could say the same thing about Donald Trump or
yes, I agree. I agree. The people giving Donald Trump the attention that they are disillusioned and need to let him shut the fuck up. Stop listening to him. He lost the election. He wouldn't shut up about it, and then he couldn't back it up when he said he could. There. Everyone happy? Now, with that being said, this person is sick and needs to people need to stop listening to her, him, whatever they want to call him. Did you see him on The Price is Right? Well, you're not exactly in line with. Before he was ever on mainstream media, he was on The Price is Right, going absolutely insane, looking for as much attention as they could.
Okay.
And it was not healthy. You could see this person was not well.
Price is Right aside. First significant role was as Elder White in the musical The Book of Mormon.
That's all right. I'm not mad at that.
No, but just basically 2015 to 2020, before transitioning and stuff, there was other credits, there's other acting. They were somebody who's already in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
So before all this happens, 8 years ago, this person's already been acting, doing stuff. So to say that they're being propped up only by the media in the past year. Okay, yeah, a lot's changed in the past year or two, but doesn't mean there wasn't some sort of influence before. They were on High School Musical. So all these things...
Were they?
Well, that's what this says.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's fine.
So,
I don't know because I don't follow that.
Yeah, all of that is personal branding that carries with it an audience and carries with it value that you can leverage into deals.
Sorry,
Yes.
High School Musical,
you don't
out of theater.
Because she also displaced Serena Williams in taking her place as a female spokesperson for Nike. Serena Williams, far better athlete, far more achieved, achieved something.
I get that. I'm trying to give as much as I can of the benefit of the doubt to these companies. And it's not like this person that's on the Bud Light can now. Like they didn't. It's not like they were unaware of this. Like you don't think that this person's got agents being like, hey, let's hustle this momentum we've got into some deals. Like this is free market shit. I mean, and goose is good for the gander. The free market backlash is also just as valid. I don't like the hyperbole and stuff like that. But it's I just don't see what the big fucking deal is all around.
And again, I'm not trying to be outraged about this. I'm just saying this person needs help, needs less attention, and doesn't need to be propped up.
Every famous person needs less attention. It's horrible for the soul.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I see why. I can see the reason why some people would be upset about it. Yeah. Do I think it would be worth my effort to be that upset?
No.
Do I think it's worth my effort to laugh at shit that I see come across my phone since this has all happened? Yes. I'm going to open that up every time. Right? It's because the internet is creative and they're funny. Does that mean...
Look at Greta Thunberg. It's a perfect example of somebody who...
Someone who became a meme.
Became a meme.
Yeah, for sure. And I think if you're going to be if you're going to be going down the road of where you're attention seeking, you either have to keep ramping it up so that you stay relevant in today's society, or you will just become a meme eventually.
Yeah. I mean, you have to pour gas on the fire, otherwise you're going to go nowhere. It's like, I mean, that's one thing that we shoot ourselves in the foot with so much is we self-efface, you know, and we don't double down on things that will garner attention.
Yeah.
That is just one of the things in a social media world with algorithms and influence like mentality and all this stuff. Like that's what you need to do in order to succeed and expand your brand. And this person played it to a fiddle to their own benefit.
Yep.
Bud Light, it's a huge whiff for them because they just fucked their you know their own audience. But it's like I can't blame this person for hustling for that deal.
There is a rumor to say that they did it for ECG credits. It's like they were trying. What is it called? Environmental equality kind of bullshit. I don't remember what it's called. ECG, whatever. They were trying to get more credits on the World Forum or the World Markets.
I mean, maybe that's got something to do with it too. I'm not entirely sure.
Like I said, rumors, but I don't know how much influence it actually has on the markets as they are right now.
But then if you look into that, like, you know, the West is literally the most liberal part of the world. So if you're already here and you're already a big player in the Western market, I don't think going deeper, if you were a good analyst, well, I'm not a good analyst, but if I was going to think about it, I don't even necessarily think that going more woke would be the way to expand yourself globally.
Yeah.
But, you know, like most of Asia, right? Very
conservative.
Africa, very conservative. Eastern Europe. It's really just this little bubble of, Western Europe, United States,
even
Canada.
The UK is leaning more and more conservative because they've shut down some of their, what do they call it? Gender affirming care. They were like, oh, this is doing more damage than good. They shut it down.
Yeah. I mean,
so
you could say that's maybe a small victory, but it's still, in the general, like they're still playing ball with the world that we live in.
Yeah, they're still playing with the.
But also, I think the UK is also a weird one, right? Because you have such a huge influx of Muslim population.
Yeah, which will change it in a more conservative direction for sure.
Yeah. Well, the Muslim, that's an interesting one. They are, what's the phrase I would use? Progressively regressive. You see, it's against Muslim. This is from my understanding. It's probably not 100% correct, but they are against against being gay. Can't be gay, but they'll let you do a surgery and turn yourself the other direction in order to, and you're fine. They'll do they will do genital mutilation, but they will not affirm your they will not affirm your homosexuality.
I've heard that, but I'm not entirely sure how widespread. Like, because sometimes you hear
something, and it's like a pocket, a tiny pocket of a pocket.
Yeah, that goes in Iran.
There's some thinker somewhere that's like, oh, here's the way we do that, and there's a couple people that sign on for it, but generally people are still just kind of sane.
Yeah. Well, simultaneously they say things like women are for children, boys are for pleasure, and they'll rape little boys. They will. There's something that was very common in the prisons around the military camps and stuff like that. They'd have people that were arrested who were Iraqi or Afghanistan, and they would rape boys. It's horrible. They had to ignore a lot of things because they couldn't do anything about it because it was their culture. And it's horrible. It's really, really bad. Mm. So, not to be a downer, but it's horrible, fucked up culture. And so when they try and talk about, Western culture is so primitive. I'm like, yeah, how many boys that you know have been raped? that you know about? Handful, maybe.
Yeah, it's something about those extremely conservative spaces tend to hide that stuff to the point where it comes out in really bad ways.
Yeah.
Like it's like, like really, really conservative Mennonite cultures or Amish cultures and stuff like that, like the most repressed. So much sexual abuse happens behind those closed doors because they don't have sexual education. They don't know how to deal with their urges.
Yeah.
Like there's so much shame involved that it drives it down and comes out weird ways, right?
Yeah.
Like a society has to have a balance of understanding and education as well as
law. A little justification.
As well as order, I think would be maybe the better word.
I don't even know if order is the right word, but a little bit of justice. I think justice is the right word. Like people feel like, hey, I can say something and I won't be shut down by my elders. I won't be shut down by the people that are telling me or that I tell my story to. If you've been assaulted, you should not be shut down for speaking truth.
Well, yeah, but that's happened for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people who perpetrate bad things will always crush that.
Yeah.
Like it's against their best interest
Yeah.
to allow for speaking and stuff like that, right? So that like they will be the ones that will push the moral code the hardest because that's in their interest to keep that shame and keep that that don't speak kind of mentality there.
But just like, I think it's still healthy to discuss on both ends, right? So we go ultra conservative. It's still important to discuss the problems there. It's also important to discuss the things going the other way, ultra liberal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so we're at a point where people maybe have reached that point where they go, just stop now. Stop with it all. Right? We've got the Leah Thomas with the swimming. That was a big thing.
That was horrible. I was trying to talk to my kids about that stuff. I'm like, do you think a girl can beat a boy in sports? And like, yep. I'm like, do you think a girl? I'm like really trying to give them a chance and be like, do you like? No offense, but there is no rule saying that women can't be in the NHL. There are no rules saying that women can't be in the NFL, CFL, the NBA. None of it. Then why aren't they there? It's because they can't play at the same level. Should there be a division for them? Yes. They should be allowed to play because I believe in women's sports. But should a guy be able to go in there and fucking destroy them?
There's also a level where you can have it mixed, right? Like playing hockey, in third grade, with the school league there. Like, yeah, you can have that 100% mix, it's not going to affect the level of play.
Nobody said puberty, yeah.
Like, that's a whole different thing.
Yes, but do you know who beat the Australian women's soccer team? Like, one of the best soccer teams in the world? A group of 15-year-old boys.
Yeah, that like changes at a certain level, right?
Yes.
Like that does change to a degree, like as soon as puberty hits. But what I'm saying is, like, well, I have no experience playing basketball. If I play one-on-one with the worst WNBA player, they're going to thrash my ass 3 ways from Sunday.
Oh yeah,
right. Like it's not about gender. It's a mix of physical capabilities and potential and practice.
Yes.
But they won't be able to dunk on you, though.
That'll make 2 of us.
Yes. But they will be doing this for a living, and they still won't be able
right. So I mean, like when you say
wrestling would be a great example. Your size against a girl just as built as you are.
In a wrestling match, I would probably do fine. If I was,
but I'm talking somebody who like knows what they're doing. You'd still do fine.
I would do fine for the most part if it was just brute force.
Yes.
But if we were doing jujitsu, like I could get Gracie so hard. Right? Like, so when you say something like, do you think a girl can beat a boy at sports? It's no. Fucking course they can. But that doesn't mean...
To what degree?
Yeah, at the highest level of each capability.
Yeah,
well,
and that's what I was trying to... I think that's the point I was trying to make. And the thing is, I wanted to push my girls to understand, it's like, you may not be on the same level, but I do believe in you playing a sport. I just don't think you should go against somebody who is ranked. Leah Thomas, perfect example, is somebody who is ranked 250 something in their division, in their state.
No, national. That was national.
National, okay. And what does he do? He turns around, goes against a bunch of girls, and now he's taking their scholarships. Scholarships.
Yeah. No, that's
we're all in agreement.
Yeah, I'm not arguing
frustrated.
with you on those points.
I know.
But I'm just saying, like, it's again, like, speaking in absolutes, leads to more confusion because then you're denying abject truths in other areas.
Yeah. The thing is, I was a mediocre basketball player, and I went against the captain of the girls' basketball team, and I whooped her. And there's nothing to say against her. She was very, very good. Like, she was phenomenal. She could do things that I couldn't do. But one-on-one, I won. Like, I'm mediocre at best. Now I'm old and I can't do shit. She's probably much better shape. But it is what it is. There are things that change it. So, I don't know.
You seem spicy tonight.
The thing is, I'm trying to talk about how outrage is unnecessary. You need to calm down, use your dollars, and then you're getting me fucking triggered. And I'm trying to be like, no, stay calm, relax.
And I'm just sitting here like, it's literally, like I said, it's not worth my effort to get that mad about it.
But is it worth your effort to get Mike that mad about it?
Yeah, because I find it hilarious.
Well, that's the thing.
Actually, I don't think it is. Because me and Mike had this talk, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. Where even like my sister, you can
in 2 minutes trigger Amanda.
In 2 minutes I can get her like raging mad, but like it's a conscious effort. Like it's not worth it.
Yeah, just knowing you can.
As much as I find it hilarious when she gets to that point.
Again, we're trying to make content though.
yeah.
Bring Amanda in. Get another mic. We're just gonna watch Nathan just trigger Amanda. But yeah, it's something to be said for getting mad about things that you don't need to get mad about. And one of the reasons I may have seemed triggered when it came to the 365 days of Mulvaney guy becoming a woman, that's literally what they did. They said this is for your 1 year of being a woman. It wasn't like I was trying to be provocative. I wasn't trying to be. I was like, this is literally what it is.
Again, you have to think that her agents and shit like that are hustling hard for that. Like, okay, what are we doing to celebrate the 1 year? Let's reach out to this company, reach out to that company. What are we going to offer? Like, there's wheeling and dealing that's going. Yeah. It's not like Budweiser or Anheuser or whatever.
I don't know.
It's not like they're just like, oh my God, 1 year? Can we put you on a beer can?
Oh my God.
My God.
You see, I used to believe that. I used to believe that. But then the, what's that big cryptocurrency one that went down? They had like Tom Brady. FTX. Do you know who FTX had on retainer? Like, oh, here's one of our sponsors. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't know that it was a giant Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, but like that's
so the very fact that they got agents upon agents working with people and then nobody figuring out that it was a Ponzi scheme, I have a lot less faith in our system.
No, but I don't even think that's the same argument. That's like saying that FTX just started using Tom Brady without Tom Brady knowing about it. No. Tom Brady knew what he was getting.
But the idea that smarter people than us are working on it. Smarter than people than us were working with Tom Brady and working with that.
I didn't say smarter people than us were working on it. I said this person has people hustling for deals for him or whatever. Like this Mulvaney, is that the name?
Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah. Okay.
So Mulvaney has a team of people looking for opportunities, hustling to expand their brand.
They kept their name. It is Dylan.
Yeah, at whatever cost, expand your brand.
Yeah.
Like, when you're trying to expand your brand, you're looking for deals. You're hustling deals.
Yeah.
And when your brand means social currency, it's really attractive for other companies to be like, you know what, I think this works. I think,
Yeah.
you know.
And they're getting paid. They are getting paid.
Then you get marketing people shooting ideas back and forth and be like, oh my gosh, this would be great. We have the anniversary on a beer can. I can hear that pitch meeting happening in
With
my
that
head.
being said, we were literally joking about being sellouts for whatever Bourbon would pay us to do. So yeah, I get it. I do understand they're willing to give me money. Was it wise on Anheuser-Busch's thing to do it? I don't think so.
Probably not, but as far as Mulvaney goes, like whatever it takes the hustle deal for their brand.
They're willing to pay?
Like they're playing the game.
All right.
Respect to playing the game.
Fucking A. Good job.
But I think part of the
Bush,
problem
you're
too, right,
retards.
is culturally and politically, it's okay for brands to support somebody one way with a large following. Like
Yeah.
I just looked up Jordan Peterson on YouTube alone, 6.7 million followers.
Yes.
Well, nobody's reaching out to him to put his face on a can, because politically, on the other end,
It would be disadvantageous, which
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, but what would you put him on? I think you should go on a Scotch.
oh man, I could see
I wouldn't put him on Bud Light
company.
because he's
A suit company.
a suit. Oh, there's a guy
was that
making a suit.
Moores for Men or whatever?
Yeah.
You know, a company like that could probably.
But they're not putting them. They're not putting them on a commercial on national TV.
They should.
Yeah, but
I think Moore's. Fuck it. We thought of it first. Anybody from Moore's hears this, they're like, "That's a fucking great idea."
Yeah. I mean, like I get what you're saying. Like it's a shame that one is socially acceptable and the other isn't. You know, and maybe people would argue that one person is provocative and one isn't. Well, I mean, this proves that that's not the case,
Yeah.
because this person, like Mulvaney, was obviously very, very provocative, and it did damage to the brand.
Damage. But the thing is, I really do think they went the wrong direction. That was the wrong direction. Like, I know they were just trying to, create some traction. It created the wrong kind of traction.
I don't know. Maybe it was one of those things where it's like high risk, high reward, like in their own mind, but it backfired. Like deals go sour. It happens.
It is, because I think some of the restaurants in regions that they were talking about how much they normally sell, and they were like, yeah, we sold 2. Like, we normally sell hundreds of these, and we sold 2 in a night or whatever. Like, they are losing so much. It's unfortunate.
oh yeah, like the value of Anheuser-Busch dropped like $4 billion in 2
All right.
weeks.
I'm really tempted to buy stock now that it's just fucking plummeted, because hopefully they make a comeback, because I'm like,
That's
this would
actually
be
not
a
the worst
great
idea in the
time.
world.
It'd be a great time to buy, because it's probably at a premium for price. It can't go lower.
Kind of like investing in banks in Silicon Valley.
All right, so
Yeah.
on the same note, but in a slightly different flavor, what about like hockey teams doing Pride Night jerseys and stuff like that? Because that in
Yes.
the NHL in the last few months, that's been a thing that has gone around, and there's teams that have stopped, and there's players that are boycotting.
I think you need to look.
warm-ups.
You need to look at your demographics. Who is your demographic? Who are you trying to? Not. The problem is, I think about another thing. What's more valuable, a new client or retaining a client? A new client. According to business things, they say a new client generates more revenue because they're putting out for everything, right?
Yeah, but is it the thing with hockey is a new client
don't think
every game?
I
Every
don't
game
think
is a new
hockey is the same. Just in terms of business, they think of it that way. But when it comes to hockey, I don't think it's the same way. But your demographics, retaining the people that you have, how many people are you going to lose with this Pride Jersey month? And players. There are players. This is something I really do appreciate about the Orthodox Russians. They get some Orthodox Russians who are like, nope, this goes against my faith. And
But it's not just faith, it's also national law in their home country.
Yes.
So there's also that. So it's not so black and white.
But what I'm saying is the Christians of our country are just being a mat. And they're like, oh, got to do the nice thing. Oh, I'm getting paid.
It's not all of them, though. I mean, like, there's that goalie from San Jose who's like, a good old Canadian boy who's like, nope, not doing it.
Yeah, but he's a Christian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Like, so you can't just say all
James
Christians
Ryan.
on our end of things are.
Yeah, that's true. No, I was using a blank statement. I apologize.
But you also have to remember, right? All these hockey teams, they are in cities, large cities.
Which
Demographics of large cities,
which are always different than what we think of as,
always left leaning. Large cities are left leaning, right? That's what they say about Austin, right? Blue.
That's right.
Blue-
or reddest
Blue
state
city?
with the bluest city.
Yeah. So
yeah. I mean, and Edmonton and Calgary, Toronto, like those are all centers that even though
Edmonton's a huge.
even though the areas around them are very, very conservative, like the values in the city itself with
Very
the people
progressive.
are that's
like Edmonton is a very progressive city as it is. It's a shithole, but it's a
right.
progressive city.
So these
shithole.
conversations are going around the office. They're part of the city. They're part of the civic discussion. So
See, do you think it's a little bit of an echo chamber of just looking at the
Oh,
city,
obviously.
looking at the demographics, not actually looking at the brand? I guess in our case it would be province-wide, but like at a larger spectrum, but looking at the immediate proximity of the people in the area saying, oh, all these people support it, so we're going to have support everywhere, and not realizing that that's such a small demographic of the brand.
of the broader thing, I think there's probably some of that going on. And like it's one of those things where in general, I think if they didn't do this, it wouldn't affect their bottom line at all. But the conversations are making it seem more important than it is. Like with our own creative endeavors, right? We have so many people around us that are like, "Oh, we support what you're doing."
Yeah.
In theory,
In theory,
they
nobody
see guys like me
admits
who are half podcast.
passive listeners.
or just none at all. Like I 100% like most of the people in our life that we thought would
support what we're doing.
would support what we were doing, or like translate their support into downloads or shares or word of mouth, stuff like that, never materialized.
Yeah.
The illusion of support or of people with you is so much greater than what the reality is.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is part of what's going on with some of these agenda stuffs in like sports like hockey. It's like the ideas in the air, and the people in these organizations are thinking that this is going to produce something that it isn't, because the sentiment is there, but the follow through isn't.
Yeah. And I think it's
And
a good
it
thing.
alienates the people that do have follow through.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here's the thing. So whenever you talk to people about when there's things like things that infiltrate sports. So at first it was Colin Kaepernick, right? Kneeling for the anthem. How much of the outrage is because of what's infiltrating it, and how much of it is that just something is infiltrating? Because I think, especially so NHL, for example, since we use that example, you have it. I think it all started in a good place of hockey is for everyone,
Yeah.
inclusivity.
Yep.
And then now it's just incrementally going more and more to inclusivity now to this one demographic.
Yeah.
But so for me, like huge hockey fan, I just want hockey to be hockey. I don't care. I don't care what color a person is. I don't care how somebody identifies. I don't care their sexual orientation. If they're a good hockey player, then they're a good hockey player.
Yeah, they're fucking players, right?
There's no limitation on men and women, or women who identify as men, or men who identify.
The thing is, it's
Yeah,
just-
but you're already pigeonholing just to that.
What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter if you can play the game. I don't care what you identify as. If you're good at the game, you're good at the game.
Yeah.
You're in.
Yeah.
And so, and with Colin Kaepernick and the whole racing on the football end, like, at what point are people just sick of the
Posturing.
agendas
The posture. I think
that are
posturing
getting
is better.
brought into it? How much of the, and now you take that to beer. How many people are just like, just let me have the beer? That
Yeah,
I like?
I think in general, it's maybe not even about the LGBT thing or about like the racial stuff. I think at this point, it's just getting tired of agendas in general.
Yeah. Just play this.
you can treat
Shut
everybody
up and
decently,
dribble? Is that
no
the way
matter?
it
Yeah, you can
The
treat
thing is-
everybody decent.
Yeah, you treat everyone the way you want to be treated.
The
I've said it. I teach
the
my
thing is
children that.
for a company like an NHL team, it's harder to actually be inclusive than it is to virtue signal. It's way harder to live up to the virtue rather than it is to make a big deal about how virtuous you are.
Yeah.
Because like to actually make hockey inclusive, you have to change a degree of culture down to like children's leagues, you
Yeah.
know, making sure that
But-
parents are bringing their kids to it, that it's the people from all demographics are having the shot at it, or that even, you know, or even having it advertised to certain people where it isn't before. Like it's a long-term project to make a thing like a sport more inclusive. And so they're looking at all that, they're like, wow, that's a lot of effort. We can just say we really like these people, and this saves us a whole lot. Let's just make some jerseys.
So, I'm making this cringe face unintentionally, but I'm doing it. Did you hear what happened when they did the hockey place thing in Michigan, where they let trans women play against women, play against men, it's like just let everyone just go nuts? Did you hear what happened about that a few months ago? A trans woman went against a woman essentially and put her into a concussion and like fucking wrecked her.
Okay, so what I was just saying there, in my mind, I was thinking like making sure natives get the chance, like having you know people from, because like I mean it's like, let's be honest, like if it wasn't for a couple people that, you know, around the league, you'd be like, wow, white people really like hockey.
Yeah, but
you know,
They do.
It skews to our demographic because it's popular in northern countries.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the reason. But like you can work harder at making it more available to people of various other people groups. Like
What's that Montreal guy that was really, really good?
George Larac.
Yeah, LaRock.
I know.
Well, he wasn't really
awesome.
good. but he
LaRock,
could fight.
I loved, like, the Oilers had LaRock and Anson Carter. Like, those two guys were fucking awesome hockey players.
Yes.
Right?
Agilna. In
Oh,
Calgary.
yeah.
Fucking
Agilna?
amazing. I'm
He
sorry.
was an amazing player.
I don't care what color you are. You can be good at hockey if you want to be.
And so, I mean, like, you can... What I meant by inclusivity in the sport was making more of that happen. I didn't mean having people of different sexual orientations beating on each other, because it's a physical ass
It is
sport.
a
That's not
very
that's
physical
not what I
sport.
meant. So thank you for pointing that out.
All right. I wasn't trying. And I'm like, okay.
Because I was missing it, because I was making a broad sweeping statement, and the world right now is so fucked up.
Nobody does that here. Nobody makes broad sweeping statements.
Yeah. It's crazy. The world right now is so fucked up that, like, when you say something, it's like there's like seven, it's like a hydra, right? You cut off one head and like seven other pop out of its neck hole, and you're like, oh, there's so many pratfalls and issues.
It's why does it suck so much? Speaking of white people who like sports, is your team in the playoffs?
Yeah. Frick yeah, they are.
Yeah.
There is a chance that
There is,
however so
his
slim,
team's
there is
not
a
in.
chance that our two teams will play each other for the Stanley Cup.
The slimmest
You're
of chance.
Toronto, I'm Oilers.
As somebody who believes in evolution, I believe there's a chance.
But frick, man, like you
It's
guys,
so small. I believe in
that whole
evolution more than I believe in my team making it to the
That
finals.
whole Eastern Conference has to get through Boston, who's just had like
Fuck
a
it.
killer
Unbelievable.
year.
The most win streaks in NHL the most wins in NHL
In a
history.
season. Yes,
season in
they just
NHL history.
crushed it all year long. It's like, like
The thing is, I know my team's not playing Boston first round, so
Like,
I'm good.
whoever winds up playing Boston in the first round, I hope they just
It's
accept
Tampa?
that. I hope that they can just accept that they're going to lose and beat the shit out of Boston.
Just physically
Just
beat the
wreck
shit out of them.
them for the next round.
What do you got?
What I got here is, did you know, in the past 15 years, former Amazon CEO Jeffrey Bezos has spent more time in outer space than the Toronto Maple Leafs have spent in the second round?
Fuck you.
Oh, that's an amazing statistic.
Oh, wow.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Say what you want.
I was hoping you would like have like, oh, this is who's playing Boston in the first round. Nope. Fuck Toronto.
Just putting it out there.
Okay. All right, let's move on to phase 3 of
What was
tonight's-
phase 3?
Phase 3 is 2 things you're into right now. Ben Shapiro, every podcast, is a thing I like and a thing I hate.
Yeah.
And it always annoys me because the thing he hates is just the same kind of talk that he does the entire rest of the podcast. So I'm like, okay, let's...
grasping for content while
Yeah, 'cause, like,
simultaneously talking.
The whole podcast of Shapiro is things I hate. So
Yeah.
when he does that game where he's like, here's the thing I hate and the thing I like, and the thing he likes is really distinctly different from the rest of the podcast, and then he gets the thing I hate, and it sounds just like the rest of the podcast.
The thing is, I'm surprised he hasn't brought up the Jack Black Lizzo on Star Wars. That's
Sorry, what? You just said a whole bunch of words together that made no sense in order to
they
me.
did. They did
thing.
make sense.
Okay, so you have to explain.
I'm surprised that Ben Shapiro did not bring up as something that he hates, but I guess it's Easter holiday right now for him, or Passover holiday.
Yeah.
So he has not been online for the last like 3 days. But did you know Jack Black and Lizzo were on the latest episode of The Mandalorian?
Okay. I have a question. Who's Lizzo?
An amazing flutist who is slightly overweight.
Okay. All right. I'm tracking with you now.
All right. Anything to say about that?
Slightly is a term.
It is a term.
Okay, question. Does this person make Jack Black look light, or are they
No,
of the
slight.
same ilk?
Slight.
This person makes Jack Black look slight?
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, anyways, I'm sure it'll make
So-
it on the things I hate. He
So
just
what are
hasn't
they
been
were-
like engaged.
Was this flutist playing Jabba the Hutt then?
She could have.
Definitely in the Cantina band.
No, she is an actually amazing in the show. She is not playing the flute, but in real life, she's actually a very good flutist. Is it,
Okay.
Is that the flutist?
So was Terry Crews, but he wasn't on The Mandalorian.
That's right. Unfortunately, she is a big woman who sings. What are some of her songs?
So what's the issue? Having these people on
Just
Mandalorian?
like two people who are put on it because I have no issue because one, I haven't watched the entire season. I haven't watched any of it because I don't care enough. There is too much Star Wars shit. I haven't watched anything past the first or second season of Mandalorian.
I think it's more they were on there because of who they are, not because of...
Their fandom. They're
because
not
of
acting.
so
acting.
it's a cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they
Okay.
weren't like they
It's
weren't
not like-
adding to it. They have had celebrities on it who have actually added to it while simultaneously they were fans.
Like
like
Mark
the-
Hamill.
Yeah, perfect.
No, I'm just kidding.
Perfect example of somebody who, no, he's not a fan. I don't think he watched a single episode.
Okay, well, I mean, like Brad Pitt cameoed in Deadpool 2 as the invisible guy.
He did it because he's friends with Ryan Reynolds. And if you were friends with Ryan Reynolds and he let you have a 2-second cameo, you'd do it.
Take it. I mean, so like I don't
I
know.
also
I don't- I
cameoed
wasn't-
in
Again,
Deadpool 2
I don't
as the
care.
invisible mute guy.
That's the only reason you haven't seen Ben Shapiro talk about it. What'd you say? I missed it.
I said I also cameoed in Deadpool 2 as the invisible mute guy.
Yes, that's right. I was
fact
there.
that-
I was in 3 scenes as the invisible mute man.
The fact that they didn't put me in the credits draws attention to their attention to detail. They were committed.
They were committed to the character. It was very method.
Super method.
I wasn't even there.
I didn't even show up for it.
I've actually steered away the past couple months from political podcasts, mainly just due to the fact of it being so negative, especially on the conservative side.
The thing is, they're projecting negative too. They're like looking for everything negative all the time. And
That's
I'm
what
inundated.
sells.
I am listening every single day. I haven't stopped listening, but I'm a very positive person.
Sorry, I almost spit out my whiskey.
I am a positive person. Fuck you.
I am positive. Fuck you.
We have a standard that must be kept. That's why. Oh,
Yeah.
You laugh a lot, but I think you're quite cynical.
Oh,
That's great.
I'm hyper cynical. I'm actually. Yeah, I'm trying to work on it. It's not going too well.
Me neither.
Oh, what am I consuming? What are you consuming? What's your go-to?
What are you into? One thing.
Actually, one thing I've actually been listening to a lot is the Julian Dory podcast.
Okay.
It used to be
I don't know
called
anything about that.
Trendifier, and he's out of New York, I believe. But he's just like well connected, and he has like all these guys on that are like ex-CIA guys and different things, and it's pretty interesting. They just talk about everything. Some of it I don't agree with, but the conversations are usually so good that like you just put up with some of the stuff, right? Like if it's too much stuff you just that you don't agree with, then you don't enjoy listening to it. But
You need a certain amount of common ground, right? You can't have too much daylight. Otherwise, you just miss each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stumbled upon it probably a year and a half ago, and then recently just started listening to it more, which is pretty good. I drive a lot for work, so
It helps. It helps pass the time.
So that's one.
All right, so that's one. What's the
I was
thing?
going to turn it on you.
No, what's the thing you like? What's the thing you like?
The thing is, I'm a big movie, TV show, like gritty series, and I just finished whatever's available on Disney Plus for the Mayans, because I love MC shit, but I'm starting to realize that it's Sons of Anarchy 2.
So do you like it or not? It's the thing you like.
No, you said consuming. What are you consuming? And it's what I consumed. I finished it, and also...
Okay. Sorry, what I meant was like it's supposed to be it's supposed to be two things you like. Like it's the opposite of Shapiro's the thing you like and the thing you hate. It's two things you
just
like.
whatever I like.
Yeah. It's like what's something that you're enjoying right now?
Transport. No. Joke. It's a joke.
Like
I just
working
had to
on
think
cars?
Of, transmissions, automatic, standard, manual, however you want to put it. Wow, I have been just consuming nihilistically or negatively. I finished the last 2 seasons of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Again, great show.
Mm-hmm.
I know the end of season 13 was kind of shitty, but because of the character arc that they pushed at the very last episode, the show was very funny in a dark, horrible way. So I like it. Thing I like.
You just said.
Yeah, you just said.
It's always I gave you one. I was looking for a second thing. I don't know why.
Yeah, you can think about it. We'll come back
to you. Into the second thing. All right, what is something that you've been consuming that you like?
Today, new Metallica album came out, and I'm really happy about it. Yes.
What does it sound like?
It's different than the last couple. The last couple have been like this kind of like faux aggression that you can like really see through.
This one's a country album.
100%. It's still like it's metal, like right
still
there.
Aggressive.
They're
Country,
Metallica. It's different. Like it's a little bit like their first album that was like very, like I mean, super old, like 1983, right? But
more thrashy or what?
The songwriting is like the really quick, simple riffs. Fun album that's not overly progressive or overly aggressive. But it also knows its age. All of those guys are like 60 years old. It's crazy how old they are and how
they're getting up there.
Good they sound for how energetically they play. And I'm just really happy with the album. I think it's something that I would put on while drinking beer and smoking cigars in the backyard.
Now,
sort of thing.
How long before Metallica is like Rolling Stones, bunch of old guys on stage attempting to rock out?
And what type of beer?
Bud Light, it's on sale.
Whatever I have in the fridge.
I ran out of beer. I'm really mad.
Yeah, I was really happy with it. I'm like, okay, like this sounds really, really good. It's heavy without being dark, and it's good old man rock. I'm vibing to it. So I was really happy that it came out today. So that's the thing I like.
I might have to give it a listen. I listened to NF's new album. It's alright. I don't know why, but it's not quite the other ones, but it's got some good tunes. Listened to that one like 3 times.
How do
now.
you say, like, I hate saying NF because it's just 2 letters.
I
I'm like,
know.
how do you pronounce your name? Snuff. Stupid.
With
Never
that
heard
being-
of her.
Like, you know,
With that
at least
being said-
Eminem took M and like put the vowels
Extra
in between them,
vowels,
like, added the vowels so you could
unnecessary
pronounce
vowels.
And everybody else was already like used to M&Ms.
Everyone loves M&M's the best. With that being said, I have found myself using NF as a point of contact for some people, where if I mention him, I'm able to open up conversation that I may not otherwise have.
it. Do you like therapy rap too? Yeah, all right.
No, there's people who are like, man, his albums really trigger me. I'm like, well, they don't trigger me, but interesting. And then
It's therapy rap.
it is for other people, but not for me. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I didn't have mommy issues. I didn't have these things. I just enjoy some of his songs. But now my neighbor's coming to church on Sunday, so fuck it, I don't care.
Cool. All right. Second thing that you're into right now.
You don't have to answer just because somebody asks. We're not cops. Do you know that's something? Cops ask you a question, you have an option of not answering. They don't like it, but you
I know
can
that.
not answer.
I wish other people in our club knew that. It's like there's certain people I'm like, shut
The fuck up.
Just no talkie. You no talkie.
Where are you going tonight? None of your fucking business.
Because I am a night owl and the rest of my household is not, I quite enjoy the video games. But
What's your game? What's you going
Call
to?
of Duty or NHL. But I only typically enjoy it when I'm playing it with people I know. Mm-hmm. I'm not like a huge fan of just going on doing stuff by myself. But like our other brother-in-law
Yeah,
and my sister.
my cousin-in-law.
yeah, I forgot about that. But
That
yeah,
got weird.
Small town Alberta.
What side of the aisle are we sitting at on
Yeah,
this
it's-
wedding?
Didn't know.
So
Didn't know.
basically that, and then like playing music, right? So, which is good. But those are my
Yeah,
those
you
are my
got a
go-tos.
show tomorrow night.
yeah.
Yeah, where are you playing? This won't be out. Like, this will be out like
Way after the fact.
3 weeks.
Private. It's just a birthday party.
Oh, a private gig. Nice.
Yeah, at a house that you guys built, actually, rather large one. In town recently.
Fucking
Realtor.
okay.
Yeah.
Marky Mark. We just say Marky Mark. He doesn't listen. Nobody else listens.
So yeah,
nobody fucking
it's,
listens.
It's a birthday party at his place.
There
Right
is something to be said. Okay, so we had somebody listen recently to our podcast who didn't know it was us when he started listening, and they were like, "Hey, Devin, tell us how you really feel." I don't know why, but I always feel like we've made it when friends of ours end up listening to our shit, not knowing that it's us. I don't know why, but
How often does that happen, though?
To me, it's happened once.
Once?
The one you're talking about.
the one I'm talking about, but the very fact that it happened, like they didn't listen to it because, oh, this is my bros, or oh, these are guys I know. He's like, oh,
I think it's probably because one of us shared it, and he's like, "Oh, something that says ACAB. I'm checking that out."
yeah. Which I don't know. I'm happy that somebody is listening, not even out of spite, but just listening.
Yeah.
That we know that didn't do it because of us. Because it's one thing to have somebody listening because it's us.
Yeah, like family members who have to download it because they feel obligated.
That's right.
To check you at family barbecues. Like, Mike, you said this
Shame
thing.
support.
And fuck you. You don't say that. You're too nice.
Yeah, all the barbecues are at my house.
All right.
No, they haven't. We have not had a
Barbecues.
barbecue at your house yet.
Yeah, my kid's birthday.
I haven't. What? I must have missed
We
that.
moved in August. My kids had their birthday. You were there.
Oh,
We were on the
right.
deck.
We had hot dogs.
Yeah.
That doesn't
And
count.
Smokies.
Smokies. That was a while ago.
Yeah. What's another thing you're into, Mike? Second thing you like?
I know I mentioned a second with an F, but that doesn't count because
That was a backhanded.
it was a
I
backhanded. Like
You're like, I listened to it. I didn't like it as much.
honestly, the more I listen to guys like Fifth Column, But the problem is I haven't subscribed to their shit, so I don't get their daily. But I think if I got their daily, I'd appreciate it less, like I do with the Daily Wire one. I appreciate it less because I'm like, it's just always there. I listen to Jordan Peterson a lot less. It's strange. I have an entire library, and I'm like, I don't have time. Fifth Column is something I really, really enjoy. It's a slightly left, I want to call it slightly left-leaning podcast that they're just very good. I appreciate it. And not being on Facebook. You ever find yourself like dumb scrolling? Like you're not actually looking for anything. You're looking for something of substance from your friends, and there's nothing there anymore. It's empty.
Doom scrolling.
Check your inbox.
I get some great TikTok reels or whatever they're called from Nathan that are just great. But believe it or not, I don't send you things because they're too offensive.
That's fair.
There are so many things that I'll send Devin that I don't send you.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh wow, what's happened to me?
Like the Sesame Tree Siamese twins.
Yeah, that one was messed up.
That was messed
That
up.
was
I'll show it to you later. It's weird.
It's messed up. But
Yeah, it was messed up. I didn't
It's
laugh.
TikTok worthy. It's on TikTok.
yeah, I know, but I think there still should be something said about guarding yourself.
Yes.
it
to
was
some point.
it was a thing that you sent me, and I'm like, I cannot believe I just watched that all the way through, waiting
Mind
for a
ya.
punchline, and I felt a little dead inside.
Violated.
I was like, this was a good troll.
It was a good troll.
The funniest thing about it was the fact that you sent it to me, and I watched it, and yeah, I was like, yep, he got me.
Mind you, I sent you the duck hunt.
You did send me the duck hunt, which is why I want to send you the truth. Anyways, yeah, my inbox is full of people sending me stuff. And then I have this very innocent old dude who is a church founder of many churches, not one church or two, like many churches, that keeps inboxing me shit. Like, I don't think he understands how Facebook Messenger works, but he's like, I'm going to continually send him stuff, like random thumbs ups, because
Random
thumbs up. Not even kidding.
Oh my gosh, that would be so funny to do to people.
And he sends me stuff in French because he's from Quebec and I don't speak French. But I'm like, he sent me something on Easter, so I'm going to assume whatever he sent me had to do with Easter. I'm like, yeah, happy Easter to you too. Anyways, yeah, so I have those people. And then I got Nathan, which I appreciate.
All right.
Number 2.
All right, number 2. Okay, so a little out of the box from what we've been talking about. I went to a Good Friday service last Friday.
Yeah.
And I liked it. It was an ecumenical one. And I was surprised because sometimes ecumenical stuff can get really weird. Like when everybody's like, we have... when everybody wants a piece of the pie to make it their own thing. Mm-hmm. And I was just really, really pleased that everybody set aside their idiosyncrasies just to do something that was normal. And I was like, okay, this is good. But the thing about it that actually won me over, made me smile, was the Lutheran pastor who happened to be up there to introduce, like, doing the Lord's Supper. And because it's ecumenical, they wanted to make everybody feel comfortable, so they had a line for people that wanted grape juice and a line for people who were going to take wine, like you should. And
I was going to ask how many times he went in the wine line.
His line was, yeah, it's like...
This one's for the Christians and this one's for the...
He's a South African fellow. So he's got a very thick African accent.
He's a good guy.
It's like, and we at the Lutherans... I can't do the accent.
No, that's like a horrible accent.
It's like a Russian Orthodox.
It's more I agree.
Yeah, we... it's like... We have wine. He's like, praise God. Like that was his line. It's like, but we do wine. Praise to be Jesus. And then went on with it. It's just that little dig. And I'm like, I like you.
Yeah, I remember meeting him.
Yeah.
He was a good dude. Uganda?
Yeah, Uganda. Maybe that was it.
Yeah, so in place a Uganda accent.
In my mind, I can hear his accent. I cannot make my mouth do it.
But he didn't sound like Groot, just to be clear.
No, he didn't sound like Groot. Yeah.
There was something that happened.
We will have wine. Praise be to Jesus.
Now,
that was the best thing that I heard.
Praise be to the Lord.
Praise be to the Lord
Almighty.
Sorry, I can't do it.
So
Still,
bad.
it was a great line. It made me happy. That's the second thing I like.
Now, there is something that we were playing, you remember Trial by Trolley?
Yeah.
You remember the card that says, the last book of the Bible, hold on, all the cards are the same, like they always get played. The last book of the Bible written by God to fill in the loopholes. There's like this one card.
Okay,
you can
we
play.
got to set this up for the listener.
Okay,
so
go ahead.
There's a game called Trial by Trolley. In it, you have 2 tracks, and the person who's being the trolley conductor has to pick which track they're going to run over a person or thing. And each team has to argue for their side to live and for the other side to die.
Yeah.
So one of the cards that is laid down to save your side is a card that says it's the book of the Bible that God wrote himself that fills in all the loopholes and makes sense of all the things that don't make sense.
So my argument for this thing is, so there's one team arguing for it, another team arguing against it, and Devin was arguing against. No,
I
was the trolley master.
I was the trolley master.
He was a trolley master, and I was arguing against the book of the Bible that fills in all the plot holes. And I'm like, the Bible says, do not add to it. And then I had to like divert to like anything else. Like I'm looking at other parts of the track to like say, this is the reason, this is the reason. I don't remember my argument, but I do remember Devin's justification for running over the last book of the Bible that fills in the loopholes.
Oh yeah, I ran that shit over.
And he's like, I don't like being proven wrong. Because I said, it takes no faith to have all these loopholes filled. This is what it takes. It's fine.
That meant nothing to me. I didn't want to be proven wrong, and I'm not going to give God the chance. So.
And then we're talking afterwards, like, could you imagine if you found out it was grape juice over actual wine?
It always was grape juice, guys.
Like,
you drunken hillbillies.
And I'm like, oh, that's so funny.
Oh.
We had a good time playing that game on Saturday.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a great game.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up, guys.
This fucking rapper. I'm not even going to play the outro music anymore. I'm just going to end her. We did that on one of ours, and it went great.
Is it the same as the intro music?
It really is. 100%.
I'm going to go out of my way to create a file that actually has me talking over the outro music.
Or you could just sing the outro music.
There's no words.
You just got to go bow now 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 now.
Now I'm just going to let it play. Go ahead.
Bow. Nope.
Music has been brought to us by Kirk the Ripper Wells of Liquid State Audio. He is the guitarist, producer, and the mixing engineer. Thank you from the Blue Collar Philosophers.
Bow now now.